Hello and welcome back to MacStories Unwind. I'm John Voorhees, and with me is Federico Fetici. Hey, Federico.
Hello, John. How are you?
I'm doing really well. We're getting towards the end of the week of a very big week at MacStories. And honestly, this week, I remember on Tuesday, I said to Jennifer, I was like, I can't believe it's only Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because it had felt like, I mean, we had with our reviews had been working probably for 2 weeks straight before that. So there's a reason for that, I suppose.
I am
But
very
boy.
tired and sleepy. Yes.
Yeah, I am not. I'm having a hard time recovering. I am getting more sleep. I am still waking up every morning feeling tired still, though. So it's going to take a little while, I think, to recover.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to talk about in the unplugged segment of the show, dealing with the post-review life. Because for me, and it used to be a very different process, right?
Yeah.
It used to be that I would actually spend 3 months thinking and actually writing and editing the review. Very unhealthy. It got me to where I am today, so it's not like I do on some level I do look back on those times quite fondly, because it was a challenge for me to sort of establish that tradition of the MacStories iOS review.
Right.
But at the same time, I know that type of unhealthy obsession and grind was not good for me, and
It's at the expense of a lot of things, both personally and for
yes.
MacStories in some ways, because it's just opportunity costs, right? You
Yeah.
weren't doing other things.
Yeah, I was not doing other things, and I was arguably taking even more notes that I should have. Was
Yeah.
there really an advantage in documenting how a feature was changing with screenshots and details on a beta by beta process? Not really. And I was doing some of that, back in the days of iOS 11, iOS 12. I was
Right.
doing that more for the sake of doing it than the actual benefit of the story. At the end of the day, what matters is the readers. They get the new version of iOS at some point in September. They install it. They don't care what it used to be like in beta 3 or beta 4.
No, I know
They
what it
see
is
what
now.
they see. They want to know what it is now. And
Yeah.
so part of me, honestly, 10 years ago, it was me making it difficult for myself just because I could, or maybe just because I wanted to see if I could.
Yeah.
I wanted to
Yeah,
see
no,
if
I
I could
get it.
do it.
I totally get it. And there's another thing too. I think there's another thing at play here, which is, and I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and we haven't really talked about it, but I think the world of reviews has changed just by the nature of the way the internet has changed, in that because of the public betas and because that's going on throughout the summer, you're seeing series of articles, social media posts, and everything
Yeah.
detailing every corner of iOS, all the OSs. And so by the time, for people who, especially audiences like MacStories, who are really interested in this stuff, by the time September rolls around, they know a lot of the details. But what I think is more useful to somebody like that is not the details at that point. I mean, the details, you still have to get into the details to do the review. However, I think it's the opinion and the big picture stuff that is more valuable to readers by the time September rolls around, because you could go through and read all those, little how-tos and tips and tricks stuff that came out in July and August from a variety of websites, and you'd have a pretty good idea what iOS 26 is going to be like, or macOS Tahoe, whatever. And with our reviews, though, one thing that I've really tried to focus on more is, yeah, but what is it like to use it? And is it really, are all the hot takes correct? Is it really that good, or is it really that bad? And, all that kind of stuff, and give people the benefit of my opinion of having actually used it for 3 months. Whereas I think a lot of the hot takes come from places of minimal use and screenshots.
Yeah, I think there's obviously a much bigger audience and a much bigger market. And I mean, I see it. It's all very much in the public eye. You go to see some videos, stats on YouTube. There's a lot more money to be made in having a different, more, I don't want to say shallow, because that's I don't mean it to sound,
Confrontational is what I would say, potentially.
yeah, but also like that style of content creation where, you won't believe all these 16 secrets that I'm about to tell you about the latest version of iOS, or did you know that your iPhone can do this? Like
Yeah.
that way
Dramatic, I
of
guess, more than confrontational.
dramatic, yeah, and um, or that because of how the algorithms work,
Yeah.
everything either has to be the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. And
Right.
there are smaller numbers because we know we are a smaller operations. We
Right.
don't rack up the millions of dollars that some YouTubers maybe do. But you know, whatever. Like I and I don't mean it to sound grandiose or so pompous or whatever, but like I want to leave something behind eventually where I can look back on and be like, pretty proud of this story.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. No,
even though
we're both that way.
it's not gonna change the world or anything, but whenever I work on these reviews and I look back on because I like to reference parts of my older reviews, and I was
Hmm.
working on the design chapter, and I was trying to make an argument of like liquid glass is what it is because like it doesn't look that different from a layout perspective from iOS 7 because
Right.
we know that Apple is never going to do these major ground up shocking redesigns of its software again. And I was trying to find all the references, and I had a whole section years
Hmm.
ago where I made the exact argument like 6 years ago. I was like, yeah, that's what I want. I want to be able to have a backlog of thoughts and nuance that I can reference. And so you're absolutely right that the world of reviews has changed. But I think I have made peace with the idea that I am content with having, I don't know, 2,000 people who really care about me and what we do
Yep.
and who support us directly and allow us to make a living doing what we do and to continue to maybe grow more slowly than other operations. But that's fine because ultimately, like, I don't have to pump out a video or a 30-second TikTok, telling people that this feature is the best thing ever or this feature is the worst thing ever.
Right.
And I can just have a proper review and share all my thoughts and be nerdy about it, and it makes me happy. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's
No, I agree. I agree. And look, I think too, I like that if you have been reading your reviews or hopefully my reviews too over a number of years, that you come away with reading the new one and saying, oh, yeah, this kind of makes sense based on where things were the last, however many
Mhm.
years. Because one of the things that I looked at when I was looking at liquid glass, I was thinking back all the way to Catalina, which was like, 6 years ago or whatever it was. And the fact that Apple made it really clear that they were bringing Mac OS closer together with the iPhone and the iPad. That this is like liquid glass is kind of like the last stage, I think, of, and it's not even finished, but it's just part of a longer story about the Mac was kind of out there on its own, and now it's a lot closer to what's
Mhm.
happening on these other platforms. And I think there's benefit to that. I mean, I know a lot of Mac users don't like it, but I think there is a benefit to familiarity as you move from one platform to the other.
Mhm.
It doesn't make sense that they're different. Maybe you could make an argument why the iPhone and the iPad should be more like the Mac and not the other way around. But I'm not here to relitigate the Mac OS
Yeah.
review, other than to say all of this is part of a very long story and a long path that you and I think about like throughout the year, and that's hopefully what we can offer people is that long storyline that maybe they haven't thought about themselves.
But yeah,
Um,
so now that you mention it, I started what was supposed to be a sentence and then became a whole 10 minutes um, about how it used to be that I would work on these things for 3 months. And
yeah, true.
now I do think about it for 3 months. I do take notes for 3 months, but the writing process happens in about 2 weeks slash
Yeah,
20 days. 20 days if you consider like now I'm working on the making of the story and I have some extra content perks that I have to share the following
Right.
week. And so but it's much better than it used to be. I remember,
The sprint
I
is
remember
shorter.
sprint is shorter, and
Yeah.
the goal, as I will explain in the behind the scenes, is like get myself in a place where I can hit the ground running in early
Mm.
September, so that in 2 weeks, it's almost like the review is written in my head,
Oh
but
yeah, mine is always.
it's not technically on the page yet.
Right, right. No,
Um,
I think of it in terms of, if you want to put it in the AI terms, I one-shotted the Mac OS review.
yes,
I literally,
I one shot at my review. Yes, yeah.
yeah, but by the time I sat down and really got serious about writing, it was just like, boom. I mean,
Yeah,
the only
well, it's
constraint
because
was how many words I could write in a day.
the prompt, John, was the thoughts you had along the
Carry,
way. All,
yeah,
all,
carried with me
all,
along the way,
yeah.
all summer long. The burden of the prompt.
The
Yeah, yeah,
context window grows larger and larger in your head, and then you one
exactly.
shot it. Yes. I hope that MacStories readers enjoyed all the things we prepared this week: iOS and iPadOS, macOS, visionOS, watchOS, and a special story about CarPlay, even. And there's going to be my making of in MacStories Weekly, and there's going to be more shortcuts and drafts actions next week for Plus and Premium members. All the ebooks, all the things. We super appreciate the support, and now it's going to be back to work as usual. Writing
It
about
is.
apps, writing about the iPad, writing about the Mac, whatever. But we have new phones coming out, new hardware, which is always funny and
Yeah,
interesting. And
yeah.
yeah, it is my favorite time of the year, I
It
gotta
is
say.
mine too.
Especially if in October we're gonna get even more hardware with new iPads, maybe new Apple TV, maybe new HomePods. Who knows?
Yeah, you never
It
know. You
is the
never
best
know.
time of the year.
It
Yeah.
really is. And I don't want it to get lost in the shuffle too that we have 2 new podcasts on Mac Stories, because,
Yes.
the day before the Apple event, Jonathan Reed launched First Last Everything, which is his interview show where he uses technology and people's technology obsessions as a way to kind of get to know them and understand their careers. And he's spoken both to Tom Hitchens, who's a YouTuber, and now to Michael Flarerup, who is a
Yeah.
designer who Federico and I have talked to years ago now on
Friend of
App
Mac
Stories.
Stories.
Friend of
Yes.
Mac Stories. He's even done some iconography for us and other things over the years. And that's a great interview as well. So, check out First Last Everything, because I think it's one that's worth adding to your queue and giving it a try. And the other one is Cozy Zone, which is an extension of Comfort Zone, which is the show that we already have on Mac Stories. That's Chris Lawley, Matt Birchler, Neil Yan, and Cozy Zone is an extension of that show. This week, for the very first episode that was paid, because this is a paid subscription thing, $5 a month or $50 a year, they went through their top 5 video games. I have not listened to it yet, but I can't wait to, because I'm very curious what their favorite games are. I think I have a sense from some of what Neil Yan's written and some of what I've heard Chris say before, but I'm not so sure about Matt. So
Hmm.
looking forward to listening to that one.
All right. That being said, I do have a pick that I want to share quickly
Do
because
you? What do you have?
it's a continuation of a previous pick. We are fully caught up with Hacks,
Oh, I
the
almost deleted
TV.
this from the show notes because I thought it was from last week.
Well, I mentioned Hacks previously. Now
Yeah.
we watched all the 4 seasons that we had to watch, all the 40 episodes. Um,
Oh, okay.
We are fully caught up. And in fact, I believe both Jean Smart and Hannah Einbinder,
Uh-huh.
they both won Jean Smart for Best Lead Actress in a Comedy Series and Hannah
Okay.
Einbinder for Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series. They both won an Emmy
No.
Sunday night. Was that when they...
I think that show, yeah, I think it was Monday night. I think that show has won some Emmys in the past too.
Yeah, yeah. So, man, we loved it.
Yeah.
We both
That's
Sylvia and
good.
I, we absolutely loved the end of season 4. Like how the season 4 arc resolved. Without spoilers, because hey, that's relatively recent, so I won't
Yeah.
spoil it.
Yeah.
But was very reminiscent, and when you will get to it, you'll see what I mean, of the ending of season 1 of The Morning Show on Apple TV Plus. Very reminiscent of that. And the longer, like over the course of these 4 seasons, I think what I love most about Hacks is that it's a comedy series, very though character centric, very character drama centric. And it's there are the tough moments in the story.
Hmm.
Like it's not like a sitcom, and it's not always comedy.
Right.
There's a story, and what I appreciate is that over the course of 4 seasons, they have explored different settings of for these characters, different challenges for these characters, different arcs in each season. And the longer it's gone, the more I've seen the similarities between Hacks and the old Entourage series, like
Oh,
very
okay.
like Hollywood Insider type thing, where like
Sure.
you see the actual celebrities, make a cameo on the show. Like it's very like almost like listening to, like they actually make a reference to this. It's almost like listening to an episode of The Town at times.
Oh,
Like it's a
okay.
very inside Hollywood type thing,
Yeah.
especially in season 4. So
Yeah.
yeah, we loved it. They are shooting season 5 right now, I think. And
Oh,
Hannah
great.
Minder mentioned during her Emmy acceptance speech that it's going to be the final season of Hacks, season 5.
Oh,
So yeah, that's going to come out at some point next year. And I just want to recommend it if you've never seen it. All 4 seasons on HBO Max. One of my favorite shows in recent years. I love it.
very nice. Very nice. I'll have to watch some more of that. I've got HBO Max. It came with my fiber optic internet plan.
Nice.
I have a couple of albums. I have not shared very much music this year, and I thought I need to change that. I've had these on my list for a long time. The first thing that came out way back in April now, at the end of
Mm.
April, is Tunnel Vision by Beach Bunny. And Beach Bunny is a Chicago band that I really love that has been compared a little bit to Paramore and Avril Lavigne. It's it's got this kind of a punk pop sensibility to it, very upbeat music, really catchy songs. There are a couple of tracks like Clueless and Tunnel Vision, which is the title track that I really like on this album. But the whole thing is quite good. And so I would highly recommend checking that out. It's like a 30-minute album. It's really tight, really short, but a great album to listen to. And the other one is I Quit by HAIM, which just came out in June, not too long after we got back from WWDC. And I had kind of missed this album until very recently, till sometime during the process of writing my review, and I was listening to it. And this is their fourth studio album. And if you don't know, they're sisters, the bandmates, and they've got. It's hard to describe their sound to me. I mean, it's got all kinds of influences in it, but if this one has gotten like very high critical reviews
Mhm.
from various websites that Rolling Stone and other places that has gone that really liked it, and I've only listened to it a couple of times, but I think it's worth checking out because their past albums have been great. They've done some work before with like Taylor Swift and some other big names, and this album really stands up amongst them, and is probably to me even better than the first three that they put out.
Hmm. Nice. Okay.
Well, Federico, before we go, we do have a MacStories Unwind deal, and so what I've got for
Mhm.
you, I've got some Marvel goodness for you. I've got a
Okay.
3-movie bundle of Thor movies. These are the
Mm.
first 3 Thor movies for $20. You've got the original one, which was just called Thor from 2011, Thor: The Dark World from 2013, a couple of years later, and then Thor: Ragnarok from 2017, which I think is probably my favorite of the bunch. But this is all they all have, Chris Helmsworth in them, as well as Natalie Portman, who plays Jane Foster, who is the love interest of Thor and on an Earthling, whereas Thor is the thunder god, of course. And then you've got Tom Hiddleston, who's Loki. And it's a fun series of movies. I think the fourth one, which is not part of this, kind of I think overstayed Thor's welcome in the Marvel universe a little bit. But these 3 I really liked a lot, so I thought I would recommend them. So again, that's the Thor 3-movie bundle for $20. There will be a link in the show notes. And with
All
that,
right.
Federico, we are finished with MacStories Unwind for this week. I know I said that recently. I don't mean we're finished. We're coming back in 1 week to have another episode of MacStories Unwind and on into the future. But in the meantime, until we do that, you can go to MacStories.net to find me and Federico writing, Club MacStories, of course, club.macstories.net. And we're on social media where Federico is at Viticci. That's Viticci. And I'm at John Voorhees. JOHNVOORHEES. Talk to you next week, Federico.
Ciao, John.